And we are live. Welcome into the Arena Multiplatform Gaming News Podcast morning show for Thursday, May 12th, 2022. I'm your host, Expat, along with my co-host, Burley Been Gaming on Twitch. And he left his pad in South Beach and flew out to Tsushima Island, where he usually hangs out now. So how you doing, Burley?
Yeah.
Good morning to you.
Yeah, now I just got to get all my stuff sent here. Good afternoon to you, Expat.
You mean good evening? Yeah.
Good evening.
Yeah. So
Evening, afternoon.
it's weird because if you're actually in Tsushima, it would be dark in the background. Yeah, it's nighttime.
Well, this is the. we can't reveal everything to you.
Oh man, I'm just kidding.
No, I'm not revealing
Actually,
all the
I owe
secrets.
you, Burley. I owe you a case of spiritual opium. You won the bet from yesterday because I was saying that Centennial game was going to be on the the Indie World event, and it wasn't. So I mean, I thought it was because but then again, I mean, it might not be considered an indie game. I mean,
yeah, because it's Square.
It's Square, yeah. So, oh well. So yeah, you get a case. The case is coming your way, man. So
anyway, and speaking of things coming my way,
yeah.
I got the email yesterday. I got the notification yesterday.
Oh, you're getting your Steam Deck finally.
Yeah, and you know what day it's supposed to arrive?
What day? What day?
Tomorrow.
Friday the 13th. Yeah. In that small little box. Let's hopefully there's no damage to that thing.
Don't even put that in the world.
Yeah, well, hopefully everything works out, man. So, looking forward to hearing what you say.
We may have something special for tomorrow's, for the podcast recording on Saturday. And we may have some extra videos coming in the near future.
Yeah, because I mean, I really do need a case of spiritual opium right now because I took the third corona vaccine shot today, and I'm starting to feel it. So, and my daughter took it yesterday, and she still got a high fever. So, I mean, it is what it is, I guess. But we'll see. So,
just get yourself seriously a lot of electrolytes.
Yeah,
I did a lot of electrolytes and water, and I didn't do any booze on those days. And
I didn't do any booze on those days.
Well, it's just sorry, the North America.
I know what you mean, man. I know what you mean. Yeah. So, I mean, we'll see, but I mean, I'm gonna take some, medicine later tonight, some Bufferin or something like that, and hopefully that helps. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, a lot of the teachers out here, they had their third shot, and they all pretty much had kind of fevers the next day. But anyway, we shall see. So we got a cool show for you this morning. We're gonna be talking about the Indie World Showcase, talking about some of the games we liked. We'll show you some of it. We'll give you our reactions to what we thought of it. So we're not going to show you all of it. We're going to leave a lot of that for the podcast on the weekend. But we'll just show you some of the games that we thought were pretty cool during the event. And then we got some other news from Nintendo. Nintendo is worried about their next console. We're going to talk about that. And of course, then good old EA. Obviously, they're ending their contract with FIFA. But this news we're going to talk about is about Battlefield. So Battlefield is in need in need of a major revamp. So we're going to be talking about that later on. So, all right, Burley. So let's go ahead and get into things, and let's get the coffee brewing for everybody. And we will go to talk about the Indie World Showcase right after this. Okay, coffee brewing.
Coffee's brewing. Let's
all
get
right.
it going.
Yep. Here we go. All right, Burley. So we're going to give our reactions to this. I just want to say one thing before we get into this. Boy, oh boy, man. I don't know if you noticed this, but when they were interviewing the developers of some of these games, what happened to the voice tracks? I mean, because when they were talking, man, I mean, it was like there was like a 2 or 3 second delay of of the recording of what they were saying and the lip syncing that was going on, or the lip moving that was going on. It was really, really terrible, man. I don't know. What'd you think of that?
That was terrible, but I have the answer of what happened.
Yeah.
See, Nintendo can be cheap at times, so they use the old Final Cut version 2013, I think it was, the one that was so infamous and bad that they had to just stop selling. So
yeah.
I'm thinking Nintendo is like, we've got this still. Let's just use that. Yeah, no, like, come on, Nintendo.
I know. It was really bad. I mean, it's just like, what the hell, man? Yeah. But anyway, enough of that. Let's go ahead and get into some of the games at least. So let's talk about them. So let me go ahead and move on to the article here. So everything announced during the Indie World Showcase. This is from imore.com. So I'm going to scroll down. I'm going to show you the one that I liked the most.
Okay.
Let me go ahead and scroll down to it here. So there were a lot of pretty interesting games, but this one here, Tabs, Totally Accurate Battle Simulator. I mean, this game, I really want to play this game, so I'm going to show it to you here.
Is it because it's got the Japanese planes in there?
Well, not just that, but it's just, I mean, I would love to play this game just completely like drunk. You know, I mean, because it's like when you see this game, man.
Oh, I could see a future drinking episode between.
Yeah, I mean, we got to do this, man. I mean, just this is so funny, and it's so cool how these like figures, you know, it's like, look at this, man.
This does look cool. Yeah, no drinking thing. Well, we'll have Carl moderate and be
yeah. Carl would moderate on Twitter. Yeah. I mean, look at this, man. I mean, just like blowing up in the air and stuff, you know, and just flipping around like arms and limbs and legs, just twisting and like flying around. Yeah,
I do love the ragdollness, and then just like the name, Total Accurate Battle Simulator.
Yeah, I mean, it's just yeah. Look at that. I mean, I mean, I want to play this. I really do. So, this could possibly get me back into streaming again. I mean, you know, for just, you know, individual games on Twitch or something. I mean, yeah, it is. And the eyes. I mean, every eye looks the same on every character. You know? I mean, yeah. So look at that. That's awesome. Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean. Yeah, I think this game is coming pretty soon. I think.
Yeah, I think that's. Now I'm forgetting dates because like I'll be honest. Last night, like I couldn't watch it during work yesterday. I was busy and ended up working late last night.
Yeah.
So like I quickly watched these and it's out
now. It's out now. Awesome.
Yeah, okay.
Awesome. Okay, Burley. What was one of your favorites?
Mine was Wild Frost.
Wild Frost. Okay, let me look for it here. It's probably right here. Okay.
Yeah.
So go ahead and tell us a little bit about this and what you liked about it.
So give the little description. Chucklefish and Fish and developers Deadpan Games and Categories revealed Wild Frost. It's a new deck building roguelike game coming to the Switch and PC. It's a mixture of deck building and adventure. Chucklefish says, in which players rally a deck of charming companions and powerful elemental items in an attempt to take back the world that's fallen to Wild Frost. Nice. I like the art style, and I am a sucker for these kind of card games,
like a Hearthstone type of game, eh?
Yeah. So
interesting. Yeah.
This so much reminds me of Hearthstone and stuff like that. So
right.
I love the art style and just the animations and stuff on this. This looks good. And this is something. It's like not because it's coming both the PC and Switch. Yeah. Which one do I buy it for if I'm going to buy this?
Yeah. And there was another game here in the Indie Showcase that really reminded me of Inside. I'm going to scroll down and show you that one. I think it's called, where is it? Yeah, Silt. Yeah, so this one here. So let me go ahead and scroll just a little bit up. Okay. Yeah, so this one was kind of interesting here. So it kind of reminded me of Inside.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Oh yeah. This I get the inside. I also get
Hmm.
what is it? It was a 360 download. It started as a 360 downloadable game.
Uh-huh.
Um, Limbo gives me Limbo
Limbo.
vibes.
Yeah, the same developers, Limbo and
Yeah,
then Inside. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, this is a pretty cool little indie here. So, all in black and white, you know, and yeah, just yeah, I love the art style. It's pretty cool. So, like there's little fish floating around and stuff. So it seems like a lot of it is like an underwater adventure. It seems like, yeah. So,
Oh, yeah.
but yeah, so
And just transferring yourself from one thing to another,
yeah, yeah,
and then now I'm this, so now I can do this to puzzle solve and get myself around.
right. I mean, that was pretty similar to Limbo and Inside as well. So
Oh yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's funny how in these trailers they don't show any deaths. It's like,
Well, because these guys are devs and stuff that have been playing
right.
the game
I mean,
as they've been making
this.
it.
Could you just imagine? I mean, it's like showing all these deaths. It's like nobody would want to play it, I guess. But yeah,
Or me playing with loots on this.
yeah.
Well, there'd be deaths.
It's like I bet you in the game that mouth would close there and you would die. I mean, it's like
Well, if you take too long, I guarantee if it's like, because this guy knows if you go, you have 20 seconds to do it. But if you hang around, be like, "Ooh, is there any goodies here?" Chomp.
yeah. So it's coming out to the Switch in June, so it's pretty close. So
Oh yeah.
all right. So anything else strike at you, Burley, during this event? So we had Mini Motorways. We had Wayward Strand that came out. Cult of the Lamb.
Oh well.
Go ahead.
Well, I think I got to go with the obvious one, Oblets.
Oblets. Okay.
I think it's
Okay.
near the top.
Near the top. Okay, I'll go ahead and look here. So
It's the Pokemon-based kind of one. So
yeah, here we go.
I think you can imagine why.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So you got the cute, colorful world.
Yep. It's a fun, stylized simulator where players can grow and raise funky little creatures called, you guessed it, Oblets. You can play it on Nintendo Switch this summer. So yeah.
Yeah, this I love the creature design
Mhm.
and them just popping out of nowhere and just doing wacky things.
Yeah, one of those characters there reminded me of Pikmin. You remember the Pikmin character? Yeah.
The
Switch
Pikmin?
characters. Yeah, Pikmin. Yeah.
I have
We
the
call
third
it
game.
Pikmin.
We
in
call them
Japanese.
Pikmin. Yeah,
Yeah,
over here. Or sorry. Well, I'm in Japan, so yeah.
Yeah. Pikmin.
Um,
Yeah, Pikmin. Yeah.
I have the third game on the Wii U.
Yeah.
I've never played it. I was gifted it for that whole thing when Mario Kart 8 came out.
Yeah.
But oh, so early okay. Oh, that's also coming to Xbox One
Yeah.
and Epic. So
Yeah.
ooh, where do I buy this?
Yeah.
It's like-
So anyway, overall, what did you think of this, Burley? I mean, what did you think of this?
Overall, I thought it was a fine event for an indie world.
Yeah.
You got stuff that interests me. You've got stuff that goes to cater different things.
Yeah.
Different stuff.
Yeah.
I was hoping for Sea of Stars, but I guess
Right.
for whatever reason, I guess that may just be coming out later this year, or I have a feeling maybe get pushed back.
Right.
But these are all titles that are coming soon, so it kind of makes sense. Nintendo wants to highlight them.
Well, there were a few that were not coming out until 2023, which was a little bit, I thought, surprising that, I thought most of these are, and not all of them would be like the summertime, but
Yeah, summer, September kind of thing.
right.
Right.
So anyway, we'll be talking about more of these games during the podcast on the weekend when we get to that. So, it was a pretty cool Indie World Showcase, and we're probably going to get another one in another month or two. I mean, it seems like it's either a direct or an Indie World Showcase, and probably, I would say probably sometime in the summer we're going to get another one, like updates on some of these games, like the
Well,
2023 games and stuff like that.
Well, the indie
Yeah.
like they don't do too many indie. They do a few indie worlds
Yeah.
throughout the year,
Yeah.
but like they'll do big like the next indie world maybe on like one big game and then just a couple smaller. Kind of
Right.
like how Sony for the last while was doing a state of play and being like, here's Ratchet and Clank, and here's
Yeah.
2 other things that aren't Ratchet and Clank for 5 minutes.
Right. Right.
So I think you'll kind of get something like that for more indie worlds. I expect the next direct we're getting is going to be coming next month because
Okay.
even though there is no E3,
Mhm.
I can't see Nintendo not wanting to do something because Microsoft has already said, come out early and said, Sunday, June 12th, 90 minutes of stuff from us and Bethesda.
Right.
Be there and have your Game Pass counter.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. The Game Pass drinking game, Burley. Yeah.
Oh fuck, we wouldn't
We
make
would
it.
die. We would die
we
from
fucking-
alcohol poisoning.
Remember when we did it last year? Like we didn't do a drinking game, but we thought of doing it. And we were
Yeah.
like, I remember you and I said, let's see how many times.
Game Pass. A Game
Yeah,
Pass.
you heard the word. I think after 20 times, you and I stopped counting, and that was within like 5 minutes of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to try and keep count, but at the same time, A, I'm lazy, and B, I know I'm going to hear it 6 million times. It's going to be like,
Right. And before Game Pass came out, it was like console exclusive, world premiere,
Yeah.
so it's like, if you heard that, it's like that was the, take the shot type of thing. But now Game Pass. It's like, oh goodness. Yeah. So I wonder if PlayStation's going to start doing that, So with a PlayStation Plus premium edition, or something like that, we shall see. But yeah. Okay, so next up, we're going to get to another story from Nintendo. This is about Nintendo, the company themselves, worrying about their next console release. So we're going to get to that right after we fly the drone, right after this. So stay tuned, everyone.
Drone initiated.
All right, Burley. So Nintendo says the transition to its next console is a major concern for us. So the company wants to alleviate the risk of resetting its user base, says Furukawa. So Furukawa is the CEO of Nintendo now. So I'm going to read this for you. This is from Andy Robinson over at VGC. So Nintendo president Furukawa Shuntaro has said the company's eventual transition away from Nintendo Switch to its next hardware platform is, quote, a major concern, end quote, for the company. Speaking during a Japanese investor Q&A this week, translated by VGC contributor Robert Svezan, Furukawa said the company planned to alleviate the risks of resetting its 100 million plus user base by building, quote, long-term relationships with its users, partly via Nintendo accounts and by using its IP outside of gaming. So Furukawa was replying to a question about how Nintendo has been able to maintain a strong game release schedule 6 years into Switch's life cycle, and what his thoughts were on transitioning to its next hardware platform. In its recent history, Nintendo followed up its big successes such as Wii, 101.6 million units sold, and the DS, 154 million units sold, with significantly less popular successors. Wii U sold 13.5 million, and 3DS managed 75 million. And Furukawa said the company was mindful of these experiences. So, quote, "We have already announced a portion of our software roadmap releasing up to the next spring," end quote, he said. Quote, "Unlike the past, we continue to have a large variety of games scheduled to be released, even beyond 5 years of release. This is because the Nintendo Switch has had such a smooth launch, allowing us to focus all of our development resources on a single platform." Quote, "However, the question of whether we will be able to just as smoothly transition from the Nintendo Switch to the next generation of hardware is a major concern for us. Based on our experiences with the Wii, Nintendo DS, and other hardware, it is very clear that one of the major obstacles is how to easily transition from one hardware to the next. Quote, to help alleviate the risk, we're focusing on building long-term relationships with our customers. While we will continue launching new software on the Nintendo Switch, we will also provide services that also use Nintendo accounts and other IP outside of gaming software. We intend for this to help build a lasting impact with our customers. So, end quote. So Furukawa previously appeared to hint that some form of backwards compatibility could be utilized for its next game console in order to, quote, maintain and expand, end quote, Switch's audience of 100 million plus users. Burley, your thoughts?
This means we're getting a Switch 2 soon, everyone.
Yeah.
Because every time, like, Nintendo has said this all the time, they do this stuff. Like, I get it, they got to be careful. The biggest problem with the Wii U's failure was the name. And, like, because people couldn't tell. And then you had Best Buy employees that didn't know, and stuff like that. There were some that knew and some that didn't.
Yeah.
And like GameStop employees that didn't know the difference between them.
Yeah.
So it mattered. You had employees that didn't know, and you had people that couldn't tell. Like Nintendo did horrible with their marketing on that. The Wii U, I don't know what they did. I don't know if they just they're like, we are going to turn our brains off because the Wii made money.
Yeah.
Because that's the only explanation to be. I get it. They don't want to hurt themselves transitioning into the next thing.
Yeah, but that's the thing is, you have to take the risks. If you don't take the risks, then there's no chance of success.
They're already working on it. I think if COVID hadn't happened, let's say not COVID didn't happen. How about let's say pandemic's fully done. There's no more COVID and all that.
Yeah.
And
everything's back to normal.
Normal, and productions are normal. Yeah. I think they would be more willing to ramp into it and start announcing stuff and saying hey, Breath of the Wild 2 is going to launch with the next console. Yeah. Because everyone's thinking it. We're all thinking it. Mm-hmm. And I think that was one of my predictions earlier in the year. That I think they just are not wanting to announce anything and see what has happened with Sony and Microsoft being like, they've got hardware out there. They want to get the hardware out, but A, it's too hard because they can't get the numbers they want because of production. Yeah. And B, just trying to get everyone to transition and trying to get into people's hands. But remember, Nintendo is famous for the scarcity tactics they do. Mm-hmm. Where they never have much out at first, just to get people, oh my God, he's got that. I want it.
Yeah. And then when it comes to talking about a backwards compatibility type of console, there's no way that's going to happen. I mean, because they're trying to make all that money on the Nintendo, online service, that's giving the Famicom and Super Famicom games now, and some, like a handful of Nintendo 64 games. So you think they're going to make a backwards compatible console? There's no way that's happening.
Yeah, they'll make backwards compatible with Switch games. They're not stupid. They will do that. They will do that because they have done backwards compatibility at times. Uh-huh. The Wii, it was a helpful, smart thing. Mm-hmm. Put a GameCube in there. I never had a GameCube, but I had a Wii. It was a nice thing. I had both systems in one. Yeah. And then you do with the Wii U, you had the ability to play the Wii.
Yeah.
And then you could easily mod it with a software mod to get it to recognize GameCube.
Yeah. Well, so that's the factor, the major factor there, the modding.
Yeah.
So.
Like Nintendo has done backwards compatibility. It just Nintendo could do it backwards compatible with Switch.
Yeah.
And also say, okay, if you're Nintendo Online subscriber, you carry forward. So all those Super Nintendo NES games that you're getting for the Switch Online service, they go to the Switch 2 or whatever name it'll be, right?
Right.
So what do you think? Do you think?
I think that when it comes to this, no matter what they come out with, I don't think it's going to sell as well as the Switch. And I just feel that when it comes to Nintendo, they're gonna make this. They're gonna make probably the same mistake they did with the Wii U. It's gonna be something that's gonna try to look similar to the Switch, and they're gonna give it this crazy name, you know, and it's just not gonna sell as well, you know. Or we could get something completely different. I mean, we could get another box type of console from them, you know, that isn't like a hybrid, you know, where you dock it and stuff like that. I don't know, man. It's up. I think it's still up in the air. It's hard to tell. So
I think they won't get rid of the hybrid. I think they may have a different tier thing or a better dock kind of thing, but I don't think they'll get rid of the hybrid because you can't now go, okay, we did the hybrid thing. It succeeded so well. Like, you can't now go, we're going to now just go a desk, TV only console. And then here we go. We're going to bring back our handheld and go in two separate markets.
Well, I agree with you that I think it's still going to be like a hybrid, but you know, from the Wii and the Wii U, you know, how the Wii U was in a way a little, you know, similar to the Wii, but then again, you know, then they started to get into that hybrid form, but that touchpad thing was just a mess. It was terrible. So I don't know.
It was good and bad. It has its strengths. It has its weaknesses. But the problem is nobody cared to develop. Not as many people cared to develop for it because the platform was not doing well. We're not. We all, as much as we all want, like, you know, the 4K 60 FPS Switch and all this and that.
Yeah, well, that's the gold standard there. I mean, that's what they should be shooting for. But you know,
this is Nintendo. They're going to do stuff to cost and to do it. I don't need, as much as I'd love a 4K Switch and all that. Yeah, I don't necessarily need it. If we make it a little bit more powerful.
Yeah, well,
storage. They cannot get away with this whole 32 gigabyte crap anymore.
Yeah, well, just Nintendo is its own entity in itself. I mean, they're not out to try to outperform like the PlayStation and the Xbox. They make their own gaming console the way they want to make it. And they make the type of games that they think are going to run well on it. And it's more of a kid's console. I mean, obviously, of course, adults, you know, love to play with it. But, I mean, when you think of it, I mean, when it comes to kids, like elementary school age kids, junior high school age kids, you know, they're probably going to want to play with the Switch more, you know. So,
well, they're going for the family market. They're
that's
more
right. Yeah, exactly.
The family market.
Right. That's what they want. You
know? They're not going for,
that's their niche market. So
yeah. They're not going for the Call of Duty FPS market,
like university age kids, you know, and young adults and things like that. You know, so yeah. Well, anyway, we shall see. We'll see what happens in the future. So we'll be talking about this more, I'm sure, when we get some more information. So up next, okay, Burley, it's time to go from Nintendo to EA. A great switch over, right? So we're going to do that. Yeah, we're going to do that right after this. So stay tuned. Okay, so EA's rethinking Battlefield from the ground up, the CEO says. So this is from Polygon.com and ONS Good. So EA DICE, the maker of Battlefield 2042, is, quote, rethinking the development process from the ground up, end quote, according to Electronic Arts chief executive. The company is reconsidering its flagship shooter franchise after a lackluster November launch, followed by a series of delays to live service content, some of which are still unresolved 6 months later. Quote, They're using the kind of Vince Zampella Respawn model of get to the fun as quickly as possible, end quote, Wilson told investors during Tuesday afternoon's quarterly earnings call. Wilson was referencing the founder of Respawn Entertainment, maker of EA's wildly successful Apex Legends Battle Royale. In December, Electronic Arts assigned Zampella, who also founded Infinity Ward, the studio behind the Call of Duty Modern Warfare sub-series for Activision, to oversee the Battlefield franchise. Battlefield 2042, a multiplayer-only iteration of the shooter franchise that launched over the holidays on PlayStation, PC, and Xbox. So, Burley, your thoughts? I mean, let me just say, if they want to make Battlefield better, first, bring back a campaign. That's just me. I really enjoyed playing the campaigns a few iterations ago when they did have a single-player campaign. Just like the Call of Duty single-player campaigns, like the Modern Warfare and all of that. I was really into it. I was really into the one, I think it was Battlefield 4, where they were in China in part of that game in the single-player missions. So just, you got to bring that back, I think, before you really start focusing on what the problems are with the multiplayer. But anyway, what are your thoughts on all this?
A little rant here first.
Yep.
You've launched the game in 6 months. There's still major problems you haven't fixed.
Yeah.
Like, come on. This isn't a small indie dev. This is EA and Dykes, for Christ's sake. Like, I'm sorry. Get this shit fixed. Like, you need to start sending money back to the people that paid for this.
Yeah.
Because I'm sorry, this is unacceptable. And the game has been tanking in player base.
Yeah.
Like, older Battlefield games from a few years back are beating it. This series needs to fix a lot.
Yeah.
Bring back a campaign. I agree. Battlefield has had good campaigns. I loved Battlefield 1. I picked that up with all the DLC a few years back for cheap on my PS4.
And some of the Battlefield, Battlefield 5? Some of the war stories, were pretty cool. So
see, I never played that one. I can only go by the ones I played. But I loved Battlefield 1. That was such a good game. They did well in the story. They did well in the multiplayer. Good on them. Like that kept me going and playing, and there were still always active players, even though the game was how many years old when I picked it up, and years after I bought it playing it.
Yeah.
So that's a huge sign. And then bring back Bad Company. Bad Company, they had good stories for those two games.
Yeah.
You can make a Bad Company game.
Yeah.
Do that.
Well,
the problem is that in the multiplayer, they saw what everyone else was doing and all these battle royales and stuff, and they decided, frick it, let's just jump in.
Yeah.
And the thing was, I think also this new game, if you bought it on the PS5 or the Xbox Series, you got hit with the tax, the $10 new game tax. If you're going to charge that, you better make sure it's polished.
Yeah.
And it wasn't.
Well,
no.
I think this is another problem, that they're always sticking to like World War II or future combat. I think people are getting sick and tired of bouncing back between World War II or World War I and like modern day combat or, near future combat like 2042 is. Give us something new. I mean, you've heard me rant over and over again about give us new IPs, give us new IPs, give us new ideas, give us some fresh perspective on something. And this is what EA really needs to do with the Battlefield franchise, is to give us a fresh perspective on battle. So take us back 1,000 years. Like, let's go to Egypt and fight in that era. Let's go to the Roman period and fight in that era. Everybody is so fixated on machine guns and hand pistols and air combat that's like in the near future. or nukes or something like that. Let's go back and let's have a fresh perspective on battle. You know what I'm saying? And I think a lot of people would be interested in trying that particular type of, era when it comes to battle. Instead of just shooting, let's have just complete hand-to-hand combat. Charging like hundreds of warriors charging into battle, or something like that, or like cavalry type of combat, That's just me, but I think, to get a fresh perspective, and instead of just all the time, it's like 1 year it's World War II, the next year it's 2042, the next year, okay, we're moving back, we're going to the Pacific Theater again. It's come on, man. Or the Korean War, or the Vietnam War.
Oh, they never touched those. They never touched those.
Well, that was like a Medal of Honor and those other games, like in Call of Duty and stuff. But I mean, you know what I'm saying, though. I mean, it's like it's two different eras, and that's it. But give us a fresh perspective, man. I mean, let's, just because you call it Battlefield doesn't mean it has to be World War II or the near future. So that's just me, but
yeah, no, I totally understand. They need to rethink stuff and need to go back to think what worked and what didn't from the mini games. Like, they've had good customization. I always did like the class system in Battlefield for playing multiplayer.
Yeah,
but they can't just keep doing the same thing and expecting 15 million sales and that the game is going to be active player base. And stuff like that. The problem is, and then they don't get the servers right. It's like, how do you, like, because I remember 2042 had bad server issues, if I'm not mistaken, when the game launched. And it's like, how do you, if you're a giant EA and DICE, this thing's going to sell well in its first weekend, how do you not get this right?
Yeah, that's another thing altogether, the server issues. I mean, it's with more and more players trying to get into servers day one now. I mean, it's almost inevitable that these servers are going to crash, and there's going to be issues. Yeah. So.
We got one server. Oh, we'll just make it do 1 million players. Okay, what happens?
Yeah, that doesn't work. Yeah.
Okay, well, even if you have a super spec server, what happens if you get 1.2 million? Fuck them. We don't want to spend more money.
Yeah,
but you could potentially make more. Yeah, no. Get rid of the loot boxes. Get rid of all that stuff, because I know that they returned loot boxes, I think, for 2042 to something else. Yeah. I can't remember what they were called, but like, they get rid of all that crap. Go back to the basics. Go back to what worked. I understand you want them to try a different time period and all that. They're not going to do it for this next game. They're going to play it.
Of course not.
They're going to play it safe. It's either going to be World War II or nowadays. Whatever. Let's get it back to getting to be good.
Yeah.
I'm wanting them to just get it back to.
Well, good. They took a chance about, what was it, close to 10 years ago now, when I think early in the PS4 era. They took a chance on, remember Battlefield Hardline?
Whoa.
You remember that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was just, it was more of like, LA police detectives, So it wasn't even like a wartime type of game. And
they took a chance on that one, but the problem was they took out a lot of the features.
Right.
Like the multiplayer on it was horrible, and then people, they were trying to do the whole thing. Oh, you're binging with like you're watching Netflix for the campaign. New mission starts at 30 seconds, and and everyone's like, why do we need this? This is just stupid. Just start loading up the next level. The next campaign. This was just, they did stupid. Like, I get it, they were trying to be, we're artistic, we're creative, we're different. But it's like, you can do that, but also you need to realize this is a video game. I don't want to be like, oh, this is I'm playing. My video game's like Netflix. Oh.
Yeah. Kind of like what was it? That dark on the Dark Mirror series. What is it? Bandersnatch. That was the one you could play. Anyway, but that's another issue and another topic. So, we talked about the Indie World showcase in this episode. We also talked about Nintendo worrying about their next console launch in the future. And then, of course, we talked about EA rethinking their strategy for Battlefield. But now I want to show you what our topic of the show is going to be for this weekend. So Ooh. I want to show you that. So let me go ahead and get that up for you. So episode 86 of the Arena Multiplatform Gaming News Podcast. Our topic of the show this coming week, games we think deserve a sequel. So there's a lot of games out there that only had one game and they never had a sequel, and probably they deserve to have one. Whether they're actually working on one or not, we don't know, but we're going to be discussing some games that we believe that would probably be successful if there was a sequel to them, and that actually deserve it, because they shouldn't have just left the franchise to dry. We're going to talk about that this weekend on episode 86 of the Arena Multiplatform Gaming News Podcast. So what do you think, Burley? What do you think of this topic of the show we're going to be talking about?
Oh, I have my answers, and they're all are shit. I can't say because you'll kill me.
right. Yeah, that's the thing, man. We gotta leave our our answers for the episode so we can be surprised. Yeah. So Anyway, that's going to be cool. So we're looking forward to that. We're going to be recording it this coming Saturday. And of course, it will go up first in early access for a day in audio and video format to our Patreon. And then after that, it will go to free podcast services and also to our YouTube channel in video format. So stay tuned for that. All right. So that's going to do it for this edition of the Arena Multiplatform Gaming News Podcast Morning Show. So I've been your host, Expat, along with my co-host, Burley of Burleman Gaming on Twitch. So we hope to catch you in the next one. So I'm just going to call it right now, Burley, I think. Tomorrow, I might be out of it and might be like just trying to drown in cases of spiritual opium tomorrow when it comes to, the situation with the corona vaccine that I had a few hours ago. So I'm starting to feel it already. So
oh damn,
I'm probably gonna have a fever coming on. But anyway, I'll be ready for the podcast on Saturday. But I think we're gonna call it a week for the morning show. We'll come back on Monday for the next edition of the morning show. So anyway, take care and have a great weekend and a great rest of your week, and enjoy your gaming. And we hope to catch you again for the morning show on Monday. And of course, on Saturday, we'll be recording the podcast episode, as well as we'll be recording our season finale of Moon Knight. So our recap of the season and the final episode of Moon Knight. So stay tuned for that as well. Okay? So thank you so much. And all of you that watch in video on demand, we really appreciate you and all of your support. So thank you so much. So we hope to catch you in the next one. So take care, everyone. Peace.
Bye, everyone.
Out. Hey, Burley, kill the feed.
With pleasure. Yeah.